Before I start, I will say that it's just me and Tommy today because Duncan has car problems of the window kind. I believe somebody fancied the car window and they took it. We look forward to having Duncan back with us next week. But I looked down at my feet the other day and I thought to myself, isn't it weird how carpets are very different to what they were in the 80s and 90s?
God,
now, bear with me. This might be a rubbish topic or it might be the best one we've ever done. We'll find out. So I remember, as I was growing up, these swirly designs. They were like burgundy, brown, beige, and they had like specks everywhere. They had like these geometric patterns. They kind of looked like a maths textbook. Very floral carpets as well. And it's almost like the pub carpet that we have today in Weatherspoons that are always different, but we had those in our homes at that point. And I remember the bingo halls as well that I used to go to with my mum sometimes, and like the local conservative club that also had a very similar carpet to what we had at home. Maybe we got them all from the same warehouse, who knows. But I remember that the colours were quite strong as well, like brown, orange, mustard yellow, avocado green, maybe to match with your bathroom suite as well. God, do you remember the avocado bathroom? I didn't even think of that before, and now I realise all awful. It wasn't just a carpet. But yeah, I just thought we could start there and see if you remembered your childhood carpets growing up.
Yes, I do. They were very bare. They were thin. They had very little tread. And so you could get a carpet burn off them. If you were a boy and you used to like to wrestle with one of your brothers, then you were constantly getting a chafing on your knees and your elbows because the carpet was so unluxurious. Cheap, but that's basically.
But they seem to last forever, though, because I don't think we ever changed our carpet as I was growing up. So for at least 18 years, yes, they were cheap, but they stood the test of time, didn't they? Somehow.
I'm always in awe. If you have twice we've had a new stair carpet fitted, and you buy it, and it costs, I don't know, 120, and two blokes turn up with it, and some particular looking hammers and some sort of piece of block of wood. And they're cutting away and hammering this stair carpet into each stair. And it's a brilliant job. And they generally charge less than the carpet. So the carpet costs 120. These two blokes, they do it in an hour and a half, brilliantly, and they just charge you 40, 50, 60 quid generally speaking. And I'm so in awe of that particular skill to do with carpentry. No, my dad used to try out being handy, but he wasn't really. He made a table lamp one winter, and it didn't work really well. And he also bought a kit for. Do you remember you used to buy you could make a rug, and you'd buy big clumps of strands of wool, and there was a pattern on this little mesh that you bought, which was about 3 feet wide and 1.5 feet broad, and you had a tool. And you would thread a piece of this twine, this wool, onto the tool, push it through the hole in the mesh that it was intended for, double it back, and then tie it off, and then release it from the tool. And he was making a rampant tiger set against a green jungle background.
Oh, God.
I know. And all I remember is longing for him to finish so that when they put it down on the floor, I could wrestle with this two-dimensional tiger.
Brilliant.
And I did it once when no one was looking, just after he finished it. And it was obviously a very disappointing experience. But that's my most prominent memory of carpentry when I was young. That tiger rug. But no, everything else is spot on. The different types of carpet that you got that smelled of something. Carpet.
Oh, I love the smell of new carpet.
Oh,
but we also had in our house a good room, which was where you were absolutely never allowed to go in with shoes, because we're quite a relaxed family. So I know some people say absolutely shoes off throughout the whole house, but I've never lived in a house like that. No. So it's always been quite free for all. But I do remember when I was growing up, there was like one living room. We had 2 living rooms, or a living room, dining room. And I remember in the living room, my mum was very military about it. Absolutely no shoes, no drink in there, like almost nothing, because it was a fancy carpet. Well, fancy, slightly more expensive than the really cheap one throughout the rest of the house. So it was like the good room. that no one was allowed to like breathe in it almost, you know? Everything was just so in that one room. And I think it was because anytime she had one of her friends round, that was a room that they went in to have their cup of tea and their mother's meetings, you know? But the rest of the house was it wasn't a pigsty, but it wasn't as kept,
lived in.
Lived in. That's a good way of saying it.
I think you're right about the good room. It almost seemed a waste of a room.
Yeah, because it was always empty, wasn't it? Because you were never allowed in there.
It smelled of polish. Because there would be a dining table in there. It was never used, not even at Christmas.
No. Pot puree, we had all of that when I was growing up. I mean, I don't know if they still smell it, but that's one of my vivid memories from growing up is my mum buying this pot puree and putting it all over the house. And I don't think it ever smelt of anything, to be honest.
No.
I don't know if it actually did anything.
I'll tell you what our good room had in the first house that I was brought up in, where I lived for 7 years, 1 Brainton Avenue. I always thought it was prestigious to live in number 1. For some reason, I felt it was a more important number than any other number in the street. And anyway, our good room was at the back, downstairs, and it looked out onto the back garden, and it had, and I thought this was so posh, what were called French windows.
Oh, posh. Yes, no, they are posh.
French windows. They were metal, and the putty that kept the panes of glass, the tarnished panes of glass, because there was so much air pollution in those days, there was no clear glass. They were made of metal, tinny old metal, but nevertheless, occasionally, if it was really hot, the French windows would be opened. And I could never work out why, because there was nobody in the good room that had the French windows, was taking advantage of the fact that you could walk directly into the garden through the open French windows. They were opened almost, well, I think my mum would have said for an airing.
Right, yes. Oh, airing the house. Gosh, that was a thing, wasn't it?
Yes.
Wow, that's a saying I haven't heard of for a long time. Airing the house. What does that even mean?
Give it an air. Get some fresh air in there.
Yes, and then meanwhile it was like September, October time and you were freezing, but your mum swore that it was warm, probably because she was going through the menopause, but no one else in the house was.
Yes, it's a long time before I even heard about the menopause. So I did find a tampon. I think I may have mentioned this before, but it was quite a startling moment in my life. My mum asked me to get a polo mint out of her handbag, and I found a tampon. So in all innocence, I asked my mum, "What's this?" And she was so flustered, didn't know what to say, didn't know how to tackle the topic at all. So she just moved swiftly on, just grabbed the handbag off me, pushed it back into the handbag and said, "Now, don't go in there again," kind of thing.
Do you remember smelling salts? My mum used to have smelling salts when I was growing up. And I don't know what that was about, but this is probably not inclusive for you, but it might have been when my mum was going through the menopause. I can't tell you for sure, but I do remember she had these smelling salts, and I remember trying them once when she wasn't around, and I sneaked into her purse to get them, or a handbag, and nearly had my head blown off. But about a year ago, I started getting hot flushes and stuff, and I actually bought some smelling salts, and I thought, oh my God, I am turning into my mum. So that was my second vague idea, was what age did you think you were turning into your parents? Because I think I'm about that age now. I'm 44 when I don't think I ever turn into my dad, because obviously he's a man, but I'm starting to do things that I think, oh God, like they're the things I used to like take the mick out of my mum of, and now I'm doing it, or I'm feeling it, or I feel like I've got that personality trait coming.
Yes, you could. And they used to use phrases, your mum and dad, and you noticed them, and you thought you'd forgotten about them. But then when the moment arises 20, 30 years later, you trot it out.
And you think, oh God, I always promised myself I'd never turn into my mum, and now I am.
Well, yeah, I mean, the day after my father died, and he died very suddenly, he was gone, dead before he hit the patio, the doctor said. The following day, I woke up numb, and I went to tie up my trainer's laces. And I thought, oh, he'll never be able to do little things like that again, because he's dead. And then I went and had a shave. And there he was, looking back at me with Gillette foam all over my stubble. but it was him. And I formed this theory, which of course is nonsense, that maybe a part of a person who passes away stays and inhabits somebody that it feels comfortable with. Just a tiny amount. And I don't know what it would be. But I thought it was so stark that it was my dad looking back at me. And I'd never noticed it before. So it was quite an experience. And my dad always, being a Geordie, he'd never buy petrol. He'd buy Petrol. Go on, try it.
Petrol.
Petrol.
Oh, gosh.
Petrol. I'm going to have to stop soon and get some petrol. And so I say it, and I say it semi-consciously and consciously. I go, I'm running a bit low on petrol.
Oh.
But that's deliberate, I think, and kind of ironic.
Kind of comforting in a way as well, isn't it? It's like they're there, but they're not type thing.
When you were little and you did things, did all your relatives agree that you were, that's Auntie Edna there?
Yes, and she's an old soul. I always got told when I was growing up, she's an old soul, whatever that means.
You?
I don't know. Yeah.
You're an old soul.
I don't know why. Apparently. That's what I always got told when I was growing up.
I think you are. I don't think you'll have to come back again.
Oh, I don't know if I want to.
That's the whole point.
Do you know, I want to come back as a cat. That's what I want to do. Because all cats do is lay around all day, sleep, get fed, and that's it, really.
Yes, it's not a bad life, as long as you've got a decent owner.
That's true.
Apparently, this story, I haven't read it. It won a huge prize in a short story competition. And Jeffrey Archer then ripped it off and he wrote his version of it, because that's what apparently he can be like. He takes other people's ideas. And what it was it's done in the narrative of a woman who is clearly in love with the man of the house. Okay? And it goes along, and the twist at the end is that it turns out the narrator isn't a woman, it's a cat.
Brilliant.
It's a lovely twist. You've got to have a twist at the end of a short story, haven't you?
I might try and read that. That sounds delightful, actually.
Yes. But you don't have any cats at the minute?
No, don't. Although I am a cat person, but the next door neighbour's got cats where I am. So I kind of get my feel that way. And I don't know if I can deal with the responsibility and because it's like having a child, isn't it, really? Because you can't... Responsibility. I don't know if I want it.
No, I mean, we rescued a goldfish and put it in a pond in the garden. And then we realised it was vulnerable to this heron that would sometimes come stalking it.
Oh.
So we moved it into the house. And I didn't think the tank was big enough, so I bought the biggest tank I could possibly get. It was a proper aquarium tank, Yeah. And I put it in, and I was really worried that it was lonely. So we bought another goldfish to keep it company. And I introduced them to each other by putting a piece of glass down the middle of the tank. And the old goldfish was on one side, and the new goldfish was freed on the other side so that they could see each other, but couldn't get, territorial about it. And I did that, and I occasionally would lift the glass out and let them, play with each other or whatever.
Mingle.
Yes. That's taking it too far, isn't it, the sense of responsibility?
I'd say so.
Yeah. What was your first cat called?
Oh, George.
That's a good name for it.
Yeah, because I used to like Rainbow on the telly. So, that was called George. Better than Bungle or Zippy. So it was George.
I used to see a lot of them because they made Rainbow in the same studio as Magpie.
Ah, cool.
So we were in there on a Tuesday and a Friday, and I think they were in there on a Monday or a Wednesday and something like that. And he was a lovely bloke, Jeffrey.
Oh.
Too nice for television, if you know what I mean. Very down to earth, and I believe he ended up driving a cab in Lowestoft when the Rainbow dried up.
Oh, I like those programmes they have on telly, like Where Are They Now type things.
I do.
I love those. Oh, I love those.
I do. I always hope that they're okay. And
Yeah.
they're not on their uppers,
Yeah, and I always like to see what they look like. Do they look the same? Do they sound the same? Do they, do you know what I mean? Because some people change a lot and some people never change. It's really weird how genetics work.
It is. Have you ever seen on YouTube, now with AI, they make these fantastic little 6, 7, 8 minute clips of something like the 1972 Arsenal double winning team and today. And so you'll get this strapping athlete in an Arsenal shirt sitting on a sofa, all with the room decorated like 1972, you know, with a fruit bowl on the sideboard and that sort of thing. And then in comes him today, 50 years on.
Oh.
Yeah. And they smile and they embrace and they look happy to see each other. And as often as not, the older one has got angel wings, which is the symbol that he's actually dead. But it is uncanny how realistic it is.
Cool, isn't it? Yeah, and I think that's where AI is really clever. I'm not so much of a fan of it taking over like creative jobs like writing scripts and stuff, but I think things like that, you know, it's bloody clever, isn't it? And entertaining at the same time. Like, it's not doing anyone any harm, is it? It's not taking, I know, jobs away from people and stuff. It's just like making cool stuff.
Well, I've been putting the finishing touches to a little podcast movie that I've made. And there's a technical problem at the end. And so I clicked on the option to get an AI voice. And I typed, it said, type your message. So I said, at this point in the programme, we encountered a technical problem, but we had more or less reached the finish and the climax. And so we'll see you next time. And I pressed the button and the voice was me.
Oh.
Me. I hadn't asked it to be me.
And did it sound like you?
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
It was my first experience of perceiving me as being another person.
Oh, that's weird.
The intonation was perfect. Well, not perfect because I'm not perfect. My intonation's a bit of a scattergun. But it made the hairs go up on the back of my neck. Tell you what I was going to ask you, if you remember, because I think the carpets thing, we could do a week on carpets, literally. I used to work in a department store, the toy department, and it was on the same floor as carpets. And once every 2 or 3 weeks, they'd take a delivery of carpets, these huge rolls of carpet, enormous, like tree trunks. And we in the toy department, wimps that we all were asked to go and help bring up the carpets in the staff lift, the cargo lift at the back of the shop. And I hated doing it. I'll tell you why I hated doing it, because one of the lads who worked there shifting carpets was a bit of a thug. And he's the first bloke I ever had a proper fight with at junior school. And I knew that because I recognised him. But he didn't know that because he didn't recognise me. I didn't want him to recognise me because he was still bigger than me. He was a year older than me, which is a lot when you're 8. And what happened was he nicked a toy of mine that I had in the playground. He just ran up to it, grabbed it, put it in his pocket, and I was furious. I didn't know what to do. There were dinner ladies, you know, in the playground, but I didn't want to snitch. So where I got the courage from, I don't know. I just ran up behind him, put my arms around his neck and grabbed him and wrestled him to the floor. Now I'm sitting astride him. And a tea lady came up and pulled me off and asked what that was all about. So I explained, and he got into trouble, obviously, for being a thief and a bully. But that was my other carpet experience. I had to pretend not to be me in case he found out and decided to chin me one for what I'd done years ago. Isn't it funny how memories get triggered by random things?
Yeah, and you're thinking beating somebody up in the playground, but then you just said dinner ladies, and then my memory went to sitting in this like school hall where they had these fold out tables at lunchtime with those little round black chairs that you used to sit on. And awful lunches. I mean, honestly, the school lunches were things like, it was custard, it was shepherd's pie. Probably wasn't made in a microwave because it was in the 80s, but it probably was sort of homemade, the school dinners at lunch. But I remember it was like slop.
2 ice cream scoops of mashed potato with black bits in it.
Yeah, and boiled carrots. I remember boiled carrots and thinking, gosh, and I think that's probably why I don't like carrots to this day, because I just, sometimes the first memory of something you ate sticks with you, and then you can never change that. And even now, I will always push carrots to the side of my plate just because I assume they're never going to taste good.
Couldn't agree with you more. I've got a young friend. He's the youngest friend I've got. He's 14. I've known him since he was a baby, but we're proper mates, which is no bad thing being 60-odd years apart in age range. But he came to stay with us a while ago, and we were having Sunday lunch. And I said, do you want carrots? And he went, no, nobody likes carrots. He's only 14, brilliant. And he's right.
He knows. Yeah, he knows.
If it weren't for their colour, you wouldn't think about serving up carrots, would you? But they've got a nice colour, and they...
But sure when I was growing up there was an old wives' tale, because my mum used to tell me carrots are good for your eyes. You'll have really good eyesight if you eat carrots.
Where did that come from?
I don't know. There's all these old wives' tales, aren't there, when you were growing up, that your mum used to say to you like they were actually gospel truth.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes, don't pull a face, because if the wind changes, you'll stay like that.
Yeah, and don't put shoes on a table. I remember my mum telling me that as well. That was bad luck, apparently.
I'm glad you mentioned shoes, because I was going to ask you this. Do you have memories as a child of being taken out to buy a pair of shoes and not really knowing what it's all about?
Yeah, and going to Clark's and getting your shoes fitted. Do you remember you had to put your foot on this thing that measured your foot, how like exactly to the centimetre how big your foot was?
It's the very thing I was going to ask you if you remember, having your foot measured.
I do. Yeah, I do.
Yes, you see, for us, Hounslow High Street had about 3 or 4 shoe shops. And there was always ladies on the right, men's on the left, and children's down at the far end. There was also a shoe department in the department store by the Bell, which was the main bus stop in Hounslow High Street. And if we were going, if one of us children was being taken into town to buy a pair of shoes, we would have to visit all the shoe shops. So we go along the high street on the right, and there were 2 there. Then we cross over, come back, have a look in each of the shoes. It's so tedious because you wanted to say they're shoes. Now can we go home? I don't care.
I don't think we had such a exploration. I think we just went into the shop, bought some shoes. Why was your mum so keen to shop around?
She was always looking for a bargain, and that was why we never went in the shoe shop that was so posh that it had one of those measuring machines. I was never treated to that experience.
I don't know if Clark's was posh.
It felt it to us.
Oh, right, okay, fair enough.
And I think my mum would have said they're that much more expensive in there because you see them advertising on television, and therefore, that sort of thinking.
That's true. Yeah, if they can afford to advertise, then they must be more expensive. Yeah.
But you buy a pair of shoes as you get older, and they give you one to try on. And I heard that's because sometimes people, in order to nick a pair of shoes, they'd ask to try them both on and then just run out.
Go run out.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So you got to try one shoe, and if it had a heel, and the shoe that you'd come in with didn't, or you were still in your sock, and the other foot had the shoe that you're trying out on, okay, you walk up and down, don't you, in the shop, and you kind of hobble because one leg's 2 inches shorter than the other. And then you go up to one of those mirrors that are on the floor and you look at them and you go,
oh, yes.
Oh, yes, that's quite nice, isn't it? I tried not to do that. I tried just to look down at the shoes. I don't care what the shoes look like to somebody else. I only care what they look like to me. And the only view I get of them is looking down from where I am. So, I don't care what the heel looks like or anything.
Oh, maybe that's a bloke thing.
How many pairs of shoes?
That's quite important.
How many pairs of shoes have you got in your shoe cupboard that you're never going to wear again?
Oh, that I'm never going to wear again. Probably more than I wear, because I tend to wear the same shoes over and over again. And then sometimes I look in my cupboard and I think, oh, I forgot I had those.
Yes.
I'm going to say about 20.
Yes. Did you ever fall into the trap of buying a slightly smaller pair of shoes than really fitted because you didn't want to look as though you had clown's feet?
No, but I've done that where if they've been in the sale and they're half a size smaller, I'm like, I'm sure I'll be able to wear them in.
Yes.
And you never do. And then every time you wear them, you regret it and you think, I'm never going to wear these again. But they look nice. And that's what women do. If something look nice, sometimes no pain, no gain.
Yes.
What
was that fairy story about the princess and the pea?
I don't know.
A spell was cast by a witch because the princess wanted the prince to fall in love with her. And the witch cast a spell and said, if you go to the ball tonight and wear this pea, it was a dried pea, in your shoe and dance the night away, then I will make the prince fall in love with you. But the story is all about the fact that she had to endure effectively having a little bit of gravel in her ball shoes. And it is painful, isn't it, if you get
something in your shoe, but then having to bend down and take off your shoe is sometimes a bit of a chore, isn't it? So you do that thing where you think, no, I've only got 10 minutes and then I'll be home. I can put up with this. And then, then you think, no, I really can't. And then you have to try and balance somewhere on the side of the road and take off one shoe, don't you? If there's nowhere to sit down, you kind of do that
That's right. And
thing where you
shake it. And
yes, I've got perfect balance. I can do this.
Yes,
and you think, God, I'm going to fall over and make a fool of myself. But you're like, no, I'm determined to be able to do this standing up.
Yes, absolutely. Hayley, I hope you and the listener have enjoyed this half hour as much as I have. Duncan is normally very good and thorough at giving our contact details. So, dear listener, if you do want to contact us, can I suggest that you listen to the preceding rambling, because Duncan will have done it perfectly there. And those contact details will stay the same. So until then, take care. And Hayley, talk soon.
Yes.